Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Goat Talk, the podcast. One half of it is Lord Brunson. The other half is Philly Mike. We about to talk some birds. I know y'all want to get to the list. But we're going to give a shout out to y'all, man, for supporting. Actually, Goat Talk, the podcast. This segment, this is the second off season we've done this, and it's just what we do now. So you know what I mean. So shout out to you guys first and foremost, man. Mike, what's up with you?
Hey, I'm chilling. Listen, LB, all the fathers in the chat. Listen, I don't know if I'm going to be live or making a video tomorrow, but happy Father's Day. You know what I mean?
Facts. That's yes, definitely Father's Day weekend. Oh, thank you for reminding me too. Because with that being said, you got to go and take care of pops. You got to go take care of pops. You got to get Big Manscaped. Use code Brunson, say 20% off, get the free shipping, and the free shipping I fought for that for y'all. Shit, if you're buying two things, use Mike code too. What's your code, Mike?
Philly Mike, that's it. It's
Right.
there, you know what I mean?
Use Mike code too, man. Bless the codes one time. Big Manscape in the building. Listen, man, foot deodorant. I always keep this right here, man. You never know. Be sweaty out there cutting the grass.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't open my new
right.
one
You know
yet,
what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Right. I got like two of them joints I need to open, but so a lot going on with the Philadelphia Eagles over the last week. The watermark, you know what I mean? That came out on Thursday. A lot of people, were, just shocked about that. A lot of people didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna keep it 100, man. I like it. And they hate me so much when I like things that they don't like, Mike. Why they always gotta do me bad like that? I'm not gonna say I like it, like I love it, but I don't see nothing wrong with it. Me personally, I don't see like a huge problem with the watermark, and what the vision might be moving forward for it. I could get used to. I wore the jersey, so where would the new watermark go? It will go right here.
Yep, that's where it would. I guess
Somewhere
so.
else.
Yeah.
Didn't you say somewhere else?
No, that's it. I wasn't sure if the NFL, if it said Eagles or NFL, but it just says the NFL above it. But then it got the Eagles.
Yeah,
True. That's going to be where it is. And
I ain't mad at that though.
And in the end zone,
I ain't mad at either one though. Like you need some like that's my thought process on it. I feel like some change is needed. I'm mad at the change. I mean, listen, we not them Eagles that used to just represent this watermark. We got a championship now. We got probably the best roster we ever assembled in the offseason. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a new day. You got a new coach. I like it.
Here's my take on it, right? Look, at the end of the day, let's talk about it like this, right? When you see somebody wearing glasses, if you meet somebody and the first time you see them, they're wearing glasses, and every time you see them after that, they're wearing glasses. They take the glasses off. That's a accessory, right? Some of it is they need it because that's how they see, but it's something that you put on. It's not who you are, right? You weren't born that way, but they take their glasses off and they're like, whoa, you look like a different person. It's like, hold up, wait a minute. And so me being 31 years old, I respect the old, the logo you got behind you. And you see the watermark you got behind you, the old English type Eagles letters, right? I respect that and I like it, but I grew up with this one, right? And I know people say like it's old school, look like it came from Microsoft Word and blah, 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 but it hit me. And so when I saw it, I thought it was a joke. Then when I realized it wasn't a joke, I first look, I was upset. And I know a lot of people are saying that the new one is a little plain. It could have been better, but sometimes going above and beyond, I'm not a person that likes a lot of glitter and sparkle and this, that, and the third. I like it, keep it simple. My last thought is this. I love the old logo because it's a part of me. It's a part of the championship. It's who the Eagles are. At the end of the day, I know change got to be made at times. It's like the Eagles are part of the family. And I said it's like a family member, right? They make you mad for a second. You're like, man, don't talk to me right now. But guess what? I'm going to forgive. I'm going to forget. I'm going to grow on it. I'm going to get on board because the Eagles are part of the family and they can't do nothing to make me ever be upset for a long time. I'll be upset for a little bit.
Right.
They're part of the family, so I'll grow on me.
I agree. And my thing is this, man. It's not like the logo change. It's not like we're the Philadelphia Turkeys now.
But
you know what I mean?
Hold up. What if? Like I heard a lot of people commented on my video and said that when they went from the old Eagles word mark, the old English behind you, they changed that first, then they changed the logo. So what if the logo is gonna change soon? How would you feel about that? Because like I love that.
Listen. I like the one behind me, and I like the one behind you. Listen, I am notorious for wearing like an up-to-date logo on a jersey and a throwback logo on the hat. That's just how I put my Eagle shit together. if you change the logo, it got to be fire. Because the one behind you fire, the one behind me fire. Even the one before the one behind me was fire. Your logo gotta be fire. That's why I'm not really concerned. Like if you come out with a trash logo, then you might have some long
That's
term
bigger.
outrage, right? Because
Yeah.
people might not want to buy the jersey. But if
I
this is
have to wear my
Kelly,
hat backwards.
right? You see what I'm saying? But if this is Kelly Green and you put the new word mark on that, that's tough. And you've seen
That
the
was looking
mocks of
clean.
that.
It was
Right,
looking clean.
right. So you know what I mean. I'm fine with that, but it is what it is. So that happened on Thursday. Friday, the Philadelphia Eagles signed a veteran safety from the San Francisco 49ers, Jaquiski Tart. Jaquiski Tart has been in 7 playoff games with the 49ers, including Super Bowl 54. Played in all of them. He knows the moment. He's a seasoned vet. Now, I thought about putting the clip up of him dropping an interception in the playoffs, Mike.
I did it.
You did it already? I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it.
I had to get in front of it, right? Before I say it's a good signing, which it still is, right?
Right,
Listen,
right.
the best players, I know Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Tom Brady, they all have plays they want back. That's a big one because it was the fourth quarter, 9 minutes left. Your team had a 3-point lead, but who knows, right? If he intercepts that ball,
they go to the bowl. Jimmy G go to the bowl.
Maybe, but again, the what if factor is too big. In a game of football, who knows if he intercepts that and the next play, a player on the Niners offense don't fumble, don't throw an interception, right? You can't in football because it's so much about momentum and blah 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 blah. But like you can say, if this guy did this, we would have won. There was still 9 minutes left in the game, and who knows what the next play could have been? It could have been a turnover on the Niners. So it's something you got to overcome. But I mean,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see the possibilities of that. But you were up 3, right? If you're San Francisco, you're up 3, and they were knocking on the door. You needed to get that ball back. You needed to create something to put your offense on the field again so you could extend your lead. So
it was a bread and butter catch too, Monk.
Oh my God. Both of us catch that. You know what I mean? I don't know what he just was there waiting. I don't know what he was thinking,
but
bro.
You can tell, right? The way he had his hands on his helmet and the way he laid on the ground for long. I mean, people were trying to bring him up, and he was like, I don't feel like getting up yet. He know. And I like how he took responsibility after the game. He said, I feel like I let my brothers down. And again, he's always been a physical safety. I mean, look at him. He's taller and heavier than Brian Dawkins. I'm not comparing his game to Brian Dawkins because he hit like no other. But he's one of the bigger safeties in the league. He's strong. He can hit, and he flourishes in the type of system we want to run. A lot of cover 2, a lot of cover 3. So I think he's definitely going to, first of all, add depth, and I think he actually is going to start. I think when it's all said and done, if I'm the Eagles, and I threw this out there on a community post for voting, and I said this, what is your answer in my video? Who's now the starters? I think you still got to bow down training camp, but I wouldn't be mad if it's Epps and Tart. And then Harris is some depth. But again, at the end of the day, before we got Tart, it was Harris and Epps with Kevon Wallace as the depth. He's been injured a lot. So imagine if 1 or 2 pieces go down at safety. Now you got to get some of these guys like Andre Chachere or guys who are special teamers. You got to put them as safety. And I think that this was a much needed depth move / possible starter. And guess what? You got bookend cornerbacks. They're going to make it easy on these guys.
And speaking of cornerbacks, he's familiar with Bradbury. They played in college. And this guy being 6'1", 215 pounds, you spoke about his size. He moves really well for that size. And he does almost everything. I mean, you could check the box. Now, listen, safeties aren't supposed to get you a boatload of interceptions. It's just not how the game is played or how the game goes. Troy Polamalu, say that again.
Safeties are safety nets.
Exactly. Right. They prevent, crazy things from happening. They're the last line of defense. So with them having that title, you're not going to see 16 interceptions. It's rare. You know what I mean? Guys have done it. Troy Polamalu, the Brian Dawkins of the world. They've been ball hawks, but this is not a ball hawk, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Swiss Army knife at the position. He can get you an interception, or he could be in position to deflect the pass. You know what I mean? He also has the ability to, create forced fumbles, get sacks, live in the backfield. He can do almost everything from that position. So I'm really excited for it. He definitely makes the roster, in my opinion, and he definitely makes the safety room better. Is it Jesse Bates? No, it's not. but it is a guy who has more traction in the playoffs than Jesse Bates. That matters when you've played in big moments. You know what I mean? Now, the biggest drop of his career came in a really big moment, but I could kind of look past that. And I doubt that that's the reason why San Francisco re-signed him. Well, it could be. It could be the reason why he didn't bring him back.
Somebody said on my video, and shout out to them. He said, listen, if he catches that, he's not a Philadelphia Eagle right now. So
that's facts.
At the end of the day, listen, let that worst play of his career come to a team that's not the Philadelphia Eagles, and I ain't mad at the game. So hopefully, and he wants to show that he's much more than that. And again, Jaquiski Tartt at one time was talked about as a legit staple of the San Francisco defense in the secondary. But one of the things that hurt him is a lot of injuries. He's been in the league for 7 years, but he's been off the field a lot. However, when you bring him in at a 1-year deal, probably minimum money. I didn't see the money get reported yet. But when you bring somebody in a 1-year deal, it's who cares what happens? Worst case scenario, he doesn't help the team. Who cares? It's not a burden on the Eagles. You know what I mean? So but also this also brings me around to this. You don't sign a guy like this if you don't believe that your team is really good, and you're just going to add you're going to look at your team as a whole and find out what is the worst position group, which was safety with talent and depth behind it. And then go out and still bring in a guy like that after the tremendous offseason we had. That just goes to show that Howie Roseman, which I said on my last video, this is a team that shows that they want to win now and later. Shout to the now and laters, right? Maybe they can sponsor us.
Right.
but that's what this roster is. I said we got the youth that is expected to be great, right? We got young players who we expect big things from. I'm talking about from the last 2 drafts: Smith, Dickerson, Dean, Jordan Davis. We got proven guys who haven't hit their ceiling yet, right? AJ Brown, Hassan Reddick. I think they're in their ceiling era with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even guys like Jordan Mailata, Dallas Goedert. Like, we got proven guys who have not hit their ceiling. They still can be better.
Right.
Jordan Mailata can be better. And then last but not least, we got the veterans who are older. I mean, we got the old guys who are old, but they're not done. You got 2 of our older guys, playing Kelsey, who just made the Pro Bowl.
Nobody's talking about our veterans enough because they still have a really big role and a really big responsibility, and their presence still, overflows to the younger guys or the guys that's still in their prime on this roster. The veterans are very important going into this season, and Jaquiski Tartt is a veteran we just added with a lot of experience. So a lot of this is coming full circle. There's really no excuses for Jonathan Gannon. I mean, the only thing I don't like about the Jaquiski Tartt thing is that it might take snaps away from Epps. Now, Jaquiski Tartt is way more proven, so I can understand that happening. But I really do believe in Epps. I believe Epps would have showed us something, but you can't start Epps over Jaquiski Tartt. I just don't see it happening.
So do you think, come September when the games start, who do you think? And again, we still got to see training camp. Training camp is going to actually show what we're asking right now. But do you think it could be a Tartt Harris combination? I'm looking more at a Tartt Epps combination. I'm thinking, yes, Harris is a veteran too, right? If you look at Harris and Tartt, I think they're similar players in the sense of what they have now, right? The back end of their career. Tartt has been in a lot more playoff games and has a lot more experience with big ball games. But I'm looking at it like this: like, yes, maybe both 1-year contracts. The Eagles want to get the most out of it and put Harris and Tartt, but I'm liking the Tarts Epps with Harris as the role player. But where do you see the safety position come game 1?
I see it being Tartt and Harris. I see it being Tartt and Harris. I feel like that I feel like that's the best combination. And but this is the thing. Tartt and Harris are similar in the aspects that you just talked about, as far as them being like older guys with still some left in the tank. I think Tartt got a little more than Harris, though. Tartt got some speed. Tartt got some speed. He got that size. Tartt really can do it all. Anthony Harris can be beat more easily than Tartt. So, I'm excited for the Jaquiski Tartt signing, man. That was a really, really key acquisition. And it seems to me that Howie Roseman is listening to what we all have to say in terms of what this team really needs. So, Jaquiski Tartt, man, welcome to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Facts.
Mike, this list. This list. We're gonna talk about this list. Me and Philly Mike, the top 12, the highly daunted top 12. Let me see which
And
one.
again, remember, this is the third video. So we did
Right.
the first 10, the second 10, now the last 12. And these are Philly Mike and LB's choices. Now, what we're going to do is go off what Philly Mike and LB said. And now me and LB are going to have a conversation behind the scenes in the sense of now there's no such thing as two lists. We got to narrow it down to one list. And the one list is going to be me and LB. LB, I'm like, why you got this guy here? Oh, you're right. I agree with you. Let me move down. Why you got this guy here, Philly Mike? And we're going to come to a consensus 32. And that's the best way to do it. Brainstorm and hear both sides before you go ahead and make your list. Off of, some people got the bias. Oh, I like him, for whatever reason. I'm an Eagle fan, but I like his game, blah, blah, blah. But we about to break down his top 12.
Hey, Mike, I can't take it no more, Mike. I can't take it no more. So guys, hold on, wait. So guys, I posted the list on Twitter. The Dallas Cowboys fans are extremely hyped right now, Mike. I don't know if you're reading this feed. Do you want to talk about our number 4 selection now or not? or you want to wait?
Listen, no. Look, let's go to number 4. And both me and LB, and we didn't talk about this behind the scenes, and we both think that Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm an Eagle fan. I know people are going to hate me for this, but Dak Prescott is one of them ones. Don't you agree, LB? Kidding with you. Change the list.
Let's get the real list up there.
Hold on. About to be mad at us.
Hold on. Let's get the real list up here real quick. Dallas Cowboys fans in the chat right now. Well, not in the chat right now. On Twitter right now, being so happy that they thought we had Dak number 4. Psych, I lied. Charlie Clip's voice. Psych, I lied. Here's the real list right here. Philly Mike, Lord Brunson, top 12 quarterbacks. At 12, I got Derek Carr.
That's no
At 12, I got. Hold on. Let me holler at the chat real quick before we dive into this. Let's holler at the chat real quick. You got it.
The chat was coming for us at first. The chat was.
Oh,
They were like, "Yo, really? If you go back, you will see a lot of what Prescott at 4." And then
they tripping.
They were
I don't know. I don't know what on God's green earth. And it's not even. This the thing. Before we chop up the list, it's not even really like no hate towards Dak. I honestly, now everybody that I put on this top 32 of mine, and I'm sure Mike did the same thing, honestly believes this is where these guys go. You know what I mean? So for 12, I got Derek Carr there because I think Derek Carr is at least a top 12 quarterback. I don't have Kyler Murray in my top 12. That's going to be on a lot of people's top 12, Kyler Murray. I just think so. I'm going to speak for my pick. I'll let Mike speak for his picks because, most of this list is similar. So we'll do it that way. Derek Carr is 12 for me because I think Derek Carr has shown, consistency. He's a consistent starter in the National Football League. He's consistently amongst like the top 5 guys in like completion percentage. Derek Carr is a consistent, solid passer who, if he can get the right team around him and the right combination of coaches, can go really, really far in this thing. I don't think there's many quarterbacks that you can say are better than Derek Carr in the National Football League besides the 11 guys that I have ahead of him on my list. So I got Derek Carr at 12.
Yeah, to me, on my list in its totality, it's Derek Carr 13, Kyler Murray 12. And I think they're one of the things that mean LB are going to have a conversation for the final list because, I think Kyler Murray definitely flunked in the last quarter of football, but what I've seen from him prior to that was pretty good. And Derek Carr had his good moments and bad moments too, but I think they're really close. And so, yeah, Kyler Murray's my 12th overall quarterback. Again, Derek Carr, great guy too. And we're going to talk about that in its totality. But yeah, so right now, 12 Carr, 12 Murray for LB and Philly Mike. Now, right. We both got Dak at 11. Give me your take on that.
I mean, that's a good spot for Dak Prescott. And, there should not be any outrage if you say Dak Prescott is the 11th best quarterback in the National Football League. That's a good spot. That's a high spot. That's an honorable spot. The reason why I got Dak at 11, right there in between Carr and in between 10, Justin Herbert, who I'll talk about, is because those are 3 guys who really haven't proven much, for real, but they've shown talent. Now, Dak Prescott, you've been in the league 7 years. your playoff record and your playoff attendance isn't what it really should be. You haven't shown me that you can win without Amari Cooper. You haven't shown me that you can win without a run game. You haven't shown me that you could win the big game. So, I think 11 is a favorable spot for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is an above average quarterback in the National Football League. Very capable if he has the right weapons of putting up a 5,000 passing yard season or very, very close to it like we seen a couple years ago. And I think that Dak Prescott can make almost every throw. Dak Prescott probably can make every throw on the field at this point. He's matured to that stage. So Dak Prescott is a dangerous quarterback, especially if he has weapons around him. So I think 11 is fair for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, see, like again, when you get down to the top 12, right? When you grade a quarterback, there's so many ways you can go. You can talk about leadership, you can talk about resiliency, you can talk about stats, you can talk about wins, you can talk about accuracy, you can talk about just the eye test. There's so many things you can go by. And honestly, at one time, I thought Dak Prescott was inside the top 10. I thought he was either 10, 9, maybe 8. Between 8, 9, 10 at one time I had Prescott. However, this season, the way it unfolded, right? After getting paid, still having all the weapons, being able to go 12-5. But again, 5 of them losses were the teams that, can you beat one of the teams that you lost to? Because they're the teams that are playoff teams. Now, you didn't beat 12 scrubs, but you swept us. One time we were actually not that good. We were under 500 team when you first played us, and the second time you played our backups. I just got to see it more. And so I used to have Prescott 8, 9, 10, and I think I bumped him back off of last season just because if the Cowboys were going to win a playoff game, if the Cowboys were going to be good, that was the year to do it. All the other years, you could say, well, Dak Prescott can't play defense. Dak Prescott don't got this, that, and the third. Injuries on the offensive line. Last year was the year, and so he didn't do it.
Yeah,
and
I
look at Dak Prescott a little bit different because of that. So he went from 8, 9, 10 to 11. So I bumped him outside.
Right.
Plus, I hate the Cowboys.
The first team in NFL history to have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver, a 10-sack guy, and a 10-interception guy, and to lose to Jimmy G in the playoffs in the fashion that they lost speaks volumes to the whole organization, and especially the way Dak Prescott blamed the refs. I mean, he ain't acting like an elite quarterback. Elite quarterbacks don't blame refs. He's above average. That's what he acts like when the losing happens and the going gets tough. And listen, man, Amari Cooper not there next year. So this is kind of a projection from my list standpoint of where these guys are going to be this year as well. So I think Dak Prescott is going to be there, and those are some of the reasons why. Number 10, I got Justin Herbert. Philly might got Matt Stafford there. For me, Justin Herbert is a guy who has shown very early on that he is elite. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to say he's one of those guys right now, like a top 5 guy, but some of the things that he's shown and some of the passes that he's been able to make, is even as a rookie, have been next level to me. I mean, the guy came into the NFL being able to make every throw on the field. You know what I mean? And listen, I can give him the 10th spot right now off of potential alone, simply because the things that he's done the first 2 years are far more impressive than what guys have than what Derek Carr has done or what Dak Prescott has done. You know what I mean? He's shown that he doesn't have many steps to take, if that makes sense. Like the dude is the prototypical quarterback, and time and time again, he makes unbelievable throws. He some heroics last season trying to get in the playoffs. He barely just missed it. You know what I mean? So I think the sky's the limit for Justin Herbert. I think 10 is a good spot.
Yeah, see, it's really hard to grade some of the guys who only been in the league a year or two, and
Right.
they haven't really hit the whole, well, now let's see how you get better, right? Wow, you're good now. But sometimes when you're that good so early, you still can fall back and not be that. You got to live up. You got to get better each year. And it's like, wow, when I'm that good, how do I get better? And so sometimes they can max out when you think there's more potential. They don't get it. For me, I'll get to Justin Herbert when I get to him, but Matt Stafford proved to me that he still was a quarterback that, when I watched him on the Lions, the eye test said he was good. The eye test said he was good. He couldn't win. And sometimes, this is a team game. It's the ultimate team game. And I think grading quarterbacks is one of the hardest to do. And as I just said, Dak Prescott used to be inside my top 10. He fell out. Matt Stafford always been a guy that I'm like, man, I would love to see him on a good team. And I think seeing him on a good team made me say, okay, Stafford had the talent that I believe he had. but I saw the defense and the play call and really just take over. And Matt Stafford, although he drove the car perfectly fine, I actually saw more eye test in his earlier days in Lions. I mean, with Calvin Johnson being there, right? That one playoff appearance they had. But Matt Stafford, top 10 quarterback for me, and I thought about bringing him lower because of the Super Bowl. But I still think that, the way the league is producing these quarterbacks, there's just guys in there that I think are better. And this list is hard. We never really talked to each other about, are we just going solely off 2021? Are we grading by 2021? Are we grading with 2021? And as you said, the projection of what we see. And that's why some guys fell back for me, because it's what they did last year and what I believe is going to kind of happen this year.
I think it's healthy that we did our own thing, but we're gonna make a decision on how we're going to come together for the finalized 32 when we wrap it up. Are we going to take potential into consideration for the upcoming season and things like that? So I'm not mad at Stafford at 10. I honestly, I don't think you could really go wrong with either one of our top 12s. Number 9 for me, I got Lamar Jackson. I see you got Lamar Jackson there in the same spot, and I guess we both kind of got him there for the same reasons. But for me, it's like Lamar has shown he could be the best player in the league. And Lamar has shown that he can be elite when he's throwing the ball. It's so weird because I've seen Lamar Jackson come back in games where he was out. I've seen Lamar Jackson win MVP. I've seen Lamar Jackson put a highlight reel together that's just unstoppable, during that MVP season. Lamar Jackson, for me, he just has to, kind of get better passing the ball and just stay a little more healthy, man. Lamar Jackson is absolutely a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League because he beats you in so many ways. This is the new way of the quarterback. A lot of quarterbacks could beat you with their arm. A lot of quarterbacks could beat you with their legs, but I think Lamar Jackson is slowly learning how to beat you with both. And he's comfortable with using his superhuman power, being able to run the ball and be elusive in the pocket. So Lamar Jackson at 9, it just makes sense. He has a playoff win under his belt. He's still young. He's still on a rookie deal as an MVP. I mean, Lamar Jackson is absolutely a top 10 guy in this league.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. If we made this list in the first 5 games, he came out to that hot start in 2021, and then it kind of fell back. Right, there was articles written that has the league found out how to stop Lamar Jackson. I don't believe so. Again, when you have that speed and that playmaker and athleticism that he has, you got to stack 8 in the box, which makes it easier to throw. With that being said, I saw him gradually get better at passing. But again, the same thing I knocked Jalen Hurts for. Overall playmaker, football player, they're great. But Lamar definitely got to grow as a passer. Again, he did have a season where he had 33 touchdowns. So again, he knows what to do with it and know where to go with the ball. But the consistent passing has still been a problem. I think that everybody on this list, including Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Matt Stafford, is better as a passer. But you cannot act like Lamar Jackson ain't a human joystick, and that right. plays into why he gets inside the top 10. Again, it's really hard because some of these guys, like if we did this list in last year's offseason, Lamar Jackson will be a little higher, Matt Stafford be a little farther back. Prescott will be a little higher.
Right.
It's really tough for me, but I'm going off again. And I'm glad you said this because I see Cowboy fans in here mad. And who cares? This is Philly Mike and LB's list. We will eventually get to the consensus. And so a guy like Dak Prescott that we both got 11, I don't see him moving, but there will be players that move up and down because LB and I will have a conversation behind the scenes so we can get to a consensus 32. But yeah, Lamar Jackson at 9 for me. And 9 for you seems right. Again, if he ever and he's been growing when it finally clicks, if it clicks. I mean, he's a human joystick. I agree. Michael Vick reincarnated, but with a little extra on it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So I think it's a fair spot. Number 9 for Lamar Jackson. Number 8, I got Joe Burrow. I don't think that's low for Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow was in his second season last year, coming off of that horrific injury. Again, this is a guy who can make every throw on the field. Listen, if Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and those guys, T. Higgins, if they go to a quarterback who can't throw the ball as Joe Burrow, they don't put up those type of numbers. You know what I mean? And Joe Burrow did a lot of that with a really, really bad offensive line. Made a lot of throws, hung inside the pocket. I mean, Joe Burrow was in the Super Bowl as a second-year starter. So I'm really happy for Joe Burrow, actually. He put a franchise on his back. A lot of guys claim they could do it. Joe Burrow actually did it. Super Bowl guy, wasn't that far off from winning the whole thing. So, I got a lot of respect for Joe Burrow. He stood in the pocket with that really, really weak, what I'm saying, offensive line and made history. So Joe Burrow, number 8, seems like a no-brainer for me. I'm not mad if you got him as high as 6 for real. But I like Joe Burrow at 8 for me. 8, you got Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and as you spoke about Herbert earlier, as you spoke about Herbert earlier, he's just a guy that has done everything and more that the Chargers could ask for as the quarterback. Remember when the draft was happening, right? It was tank for Tua. The Chargers wanted Tua. They had to sell for Herbert. Herbert actually shouldn't even be a first round pick. There was a lot of horrible talk on Herbert's name, and he came in and just proved everybody wrong. He's probably the best quarterback out of that draft. Tua, I'm not saying he's going to be bad, and that hip injury, as it gets better, Tua may be able to come back to who he was, and we'll see. He does definitely got the weapons, but Herbert has been a guy who just balls out. And I think now that the defense is more shored up in Los Angeles with the Los Angeles Chargers, we're going to see a better side of him. Again, he's young, and I hate I hate it, but I got to do it. Like, crowning guys like Burrow and Herbert this early is hard because things can happen. You got guys like Matthew Stafford and even Dak Prescott, who's been pretty good for a long period of time. These guys are early in their career, and so they could just because you were good early don't mean you're going to be better later. It can go worse. We saw that with Carson Wentz. But Justin Herbert has made things look very easy, and he definitely got slighted a lot. And so I think Justin Herbert at 8, he's going to eventually climb up. I think Herbert and Burrow are going to be guys who can write their story where they could be flirting with the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes as top guys once the old heads Brady and Rodgers retire.
I agree with that, man, 100%. I mean, I think the main advantage that guys have like Herbert and Burrow is that they could win from the pocket. So people kind of give them a little more leeway on how long they'll be good because they can win from the pocket. Like Tom Brady's damn near 50 years old. I don't know how old he is. He's old. You know what I mean? The only reason why Tom Brady's still around is because he can win from the pocket. That's why Drew Brees was around so long. Why Phillip Rivers was around so long. Not because of athleticism, because he could naturally beat you with his arm. And these guys came in to this game with a highly developed arm. So yeah, number 8 for Joe Burrow and number 8 for Justin Herbert. Can't be mad at that at all. At 7, we both got Deshaun Watson. This was hard for me, bro. Deshaun Watson, because he did miss a whole year, but you know who he is still. I hate how people try to act like, the football IQ of Deshaun Watson from the quarterback position is next level. I mean, yeah, he had that 4-win season, and I was highly critical of that 4-win season in Houston, but he was second in passing. His completion percentage was out of this world. The thing that bothers me about Deshaun Watson, especially in that 4-win season, is that he could have had 9 wins. Because he had the ball in his hands, last-minute drive situations, making $40 million a year multiple times and came up short. So, you know what I mean? You got to take that into consideration as well. But as far as an overall body of work, it's kind of hard to not have Deshaun Watson in the top 10. Listen, he missed the whole year not because he was hurt. He missed the whole year because he had to get out of his organization. He got some legal stuff going on. So he was completely healthy. So the health is not an issue. He's going to go through a full camp. Now you got Amari Cooper over there. They talk about bringing OBJ back. All type of stuff is happening in Cleveland right now. You got a strong running game while he's still getting acclimated with Nick Chubb. You still got edge rushers. You got a nice tight end. I mean, this is the best team Deshaun Watson has had, in my opinion. And he's played with J.J. Watt and D-Hop. But this is a younger, fresher team. And I think Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns are poised to make some noise in the AFC. So number 7 for me, no brainer.
Yeah, again, this is more of a projection, and also, it's hard, and that's why it's so crazy, right? Jimmy G is what a lot of people call a middle of the pack quarterback, and he's in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson is what you call a high graded elite type quarterback, and he has a 4-win season. It's because the NFL game is the ultimate team game, and it's very hard, and there's so many aspects. When you grade a running back, when you grade a wide receiver, I mean, there too, because who's throwing in the ball. Football, when you talk about who's better than who, you have to always bring in, well, who's around them, who's their coach, who's putting them in this position, right? NBA, MLB, a home run has nothing to do with the guy left or right to you. 35 points per game, good defense, good offense, has nothing to do with the guy left or right to you to the degree of the NFL league. It's very hard. And Deshaun Watson is a guy who is the definition of a guy who can throw the ball from the pocket and a guy who can scramble around and make things happen, right? When you look at the young guys and Burrow and Herbert, right? They're not a statue. They're elusive. But Deshaun Watson has flashes of the Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson type game while throwing the ball as the Stafford, Herbert, Burrow type of the game. And so I think that if Deshaun Watson ever can get his off-field troubles in check with a team that has a winning pedigree, which when you think of the Browns, you don't think about that, but the organization has changed over the last couple of years. I see big things. And Deshaun Watson, you haven't seen him play in a while, but I'm not forgetting about him.
Exactly. You got some Dallas Cowboys fans in the chat, man. I mean, that's natural. Cowboys fan talk really mad that we got him at 7. And he also predicts that he will be suspended again for a year. I mean, listen, I know you mad where Dak at, but it is what it is. Deshaun Watson is better than Dak Prescott. Yes, definitely shout out to CFT though. Yeah.
I don't like his team, but I rock with the dude. Listen,
right.
If I met him at a bar and he never told me his team, I think we could be really, really good friends. But as soon as he says Dallas Cowboy, that's when I have to exit to the left. You know what I mean?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So number 6, I got Matthew Stafford. And number 6, you got Joe Burrow. So I got Joe Burrow 2 spots back from where you have him, and you have Stafford 4 spots back from where I have him. Stafford has had a really good career statistically. You know what I mean? And, Stafford ain't a bum. Listen, I don't like Matt Stafford. When Stafford got on the Lions jersey, I don't like him. He a bum. I didn't really like him down the stretch, but he did win the Super Bowl. And you really know what he's capable of.
That's definitely why that's coming off a Super Bowl,
right?
That's definitely
definitely makes you top 10 with the resume and the body of work, being a number 1 overall pick, winning the Super Bowl, helping Aaron Donald get his first one. OBJ got his first one. You were the quarterback. You know what I mean? You're definitely a top 10 guy off of what you did last year. The whole team wants to come back and they want to play again. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see them getting any worse with Matthew Stafford. And I'm not going to say they're going to repeat, but listen. I don't have to sit here and talk. Matthew Stafford was throwing no-look passes in the playoffs. Like, I don't have to sit here and talk to you about how well Matthew Stafford can throw a football. We all know that he can make every throw on a football field. Now he's with an offensive-minded head coach. He's with Cooper Kupp. He's with all of those guys over there. And, it's going to be hard to say that Matthew Stafford is not a top 10 guy in the National Football League. So, you don't even really need a real long explanation for why Matthew Stafford would be on this portion of the list for me. You got Joe Burrow, number 6.
Joe Cool. This man coming off the injury he came off of, right? When that happens, we saw it with Carson Wentz and other players in this league, and they're just never the same. And he was a guy who was LSU a beast mode, but it was only for 1 year. He was one of them guys that played and wasn't really making no waves, had one great year, got drafted very high, if not first, correct me if I'm wrong, first overall, one or 2. And then guess what happens? He plays okay and gets hurt. And then he comes back with an organization that's really never even won a playoff game, an organization that is known for losing. And not only does he play better than what he did as a rookie when he was healthy after recovering for an injury, he carries that Bengals team all the way to the Super Bowl. A 4-win team now turned to a Super Bowl appearance. And the way he goes about it, I think he can make all the throws. And I'm going to put my money behind Joe Burrow. I think that there's big things behind him. And Cincinnati got to be happy to have him. And you can look at his weapons and how good they are, right? But there's a reason T. Higgins was not the first 1 or 2 or 3, 4 or 5 wide receivers picked. Jamar Chase is the dog, don't get me wrong, but Burrow's making them look as good as they're making him look. And I like Joe Burrow a lot, and I see big things in his future. And Joe Burrow cracking that 6 piece for me is just because I respect Joe Cool.
Right. Yeah. I get it. It's crazy because 4 or 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the same for us. I just saw that. So, listen, we can jump right into that then. Russell Wilson, been disrespecting Russell a lot. People have been disrespecting Russell Wilson a lot the last, year and a half. It may seem, in my opinion, people are saying Russell Wilson ain't do this, he ain't do that. It's all because of the Legion of Boom. And there's mainly teams who haven't won anything since the 90s who are saying that he's only been successful because of the Legion of Boom. That's BS, man. Russell Wilson, not too long ago, just threw 40 touchdowns in a season. Russell Wilson got probably the best deep ball in the National Football League. Tyler Lockett was never a household name. Russell Wilson made him as closest to a household name as you're going to get. Now, DK Metcalf, I knew he was going to be a star since day one. But Russell Wilson, man, been to 2 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson put Seattle back on the map. Listen, now he's going over to Denver with even more weapons, you know what I mean, with a larger fan base behind him. Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback in this league. I don't care what nobody say. Put some respect on Russell Wilson's name. It's as simple as that why I got him at number 5, man, because I believe he's there. And, a lot of me really don't believe Josh Allen is better than Russell Wilson. But Josh Allen is just, we're going to talk about it. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about it, I guess. But, yeah, man, Russell at 5 for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, Russell's last year was, frustrating, right? On and off the field. He was injured as well. But he's always been a guy that, knowing that he's on a team, you see playoffs in Seattle's future. Now, last year, it didn't happen that way, and he was injured and with his hand and all that. But, I mean, Russell Wilson is that guy who can do it all. And he's, to me, always been that guy. And as much as I support Jalen Hurts, right, when we were talking about possible quarterback changes, the whole Deshaun Watson maybe going to Philly, like, listen, whenever Russell Wilson was mentioned, I was always undecided because I understand that you're giving up the farm and it's going to hurt. But when you got a guy like Russell Wilson, anything is tight possible. And Seattle felt that way for a little bit. And this is going to be the story, right? Matthew Stafford played with the Lions, couldn't get it done with that organization. Now, I'm not saying it's the same story because Russell Wilson got it done with that organization, but he goes to a team that supposedly just needs a quarterback. And that's supposedly what Denver does. So at the end of this season, if Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos ain't doing what I think they can do, well, then I'm going to look at Russell Wilson a little differently, and I might drop him a little bit. But right now, he in his career, he's always been great.
This is the malarkey I be talking about, bro. CFT, that's my guy. Russell Wilson is 100% not better than Dak Prescott. When they met in the playoffs, what happened? Exactly. I mean, I don't know why people think that. I don't get it.
So that being said, Jimmy G is better than Dak because when they met in the playoffs, what happened? Didn't say that.
Right. Didn't Goff just knock them off right after they beat Russell and them? Russell and them was plagued by injuries, right? Goff knocked them off right after that. He gonna say, "Oh, it was the run game. It was the running game."
CJ Anderson was so great. I understand that. But again, what all happened in that game? I know Dak, that might have been one of Dak's better games. But again, you're talking about one game of a body of work of Russell Wilson. And again, there's a reason why in the back of my head, I was low-key thinking, like, I know we're giving up a lot for Russell, but man, if he was an Eagle, Lord.
Yeah, I don't get it. Josh Allen at number 4. Josh Allen is like the Terminator to me, bro. I've seen Josh Allen is a physical specimen. First of all, I don't think nobody could throw a ball farther than Josh Allen in the National Football League. We all knew that was Josh Allen's elite trait, the deep ball, the power behind the pass. But then when he started to be on time with the deep ball, then when he started to get good with it, Josh Allen showed flashes that scare me. Like scary flashes. Like I seen Josh Allen throw like 70-yard spirals on a rope. Like it just don't happen every day, this type of arm talent, man. That's number 1. I mean, Josh Allen just had some tough breaks in the playoffs, some losses to where he didn't even get an opportunity to even win the game. You know what I mean? He didn't even get his hands on the ball in overtime. I think one of the losses, shootouts against, Patrick Mahomes. He just in a tough conference and he's going against a tough caliber of, competition in the AFC with Patrick Mahomes and those guys being so top heavy. He comes down to some tough breaks. It's never because of Josh Allen why the team loses. You know what I mean? I think it's more so just the guys that they're going against. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, one of the best players in the National Football League at his age. And Josh Allen is about to get paid handsomely for his ad. Listen, the Buffalo Bills don't have a Super Bowl, But they got Josh Allen, man. That's like damn near. That's like, come on, having a quarterback that good, you damn near are a Super Bowl. You know, you're a Super Bowl walking. You never got to worry about if your quarterback going to show up every Sunday when you get to this portion of the list. So Josh Allen, definitely a top 4 guy in this league.
Yeah, man. I mean, the reviews on him after season 1, maybe even season 2, was he's a bust. He's trash. He can't be nothing in the NFL. Get rid of him. And now look at him, right? He's inside the top 5. He is what you call he yo running style. He's the white Cam Newton. He's one of them quarterbacks that's not afraid to put his head down and actually run through you. He's not just gonna juke you. He's not gonna go around you. He'll run through you. But then in the same possession, he'll drop back and throw a dime across the middle. So the arm talent has always been there. It was his progressions, reading defenses, and putting it all together. And when he did that, the game looks slow to him now. You've seen the battle in the playoffs, Mahomes versus Allen, and that's what the NFL is trying to get, right? They make it very hard for defense nowadays, and they're trying to get that 40-40 type game and battle back and forth. Now in the playoffs, if you score a touchdown, the other team gets a chance. Guess why? Josh Allen. The NFL has changed the rule for that man. That's how you know he's one of them ones. The NFL literally changed the rules for Josh Allen because he said, you're right. 2 great quarterbacks, 2 great offenses. We're making it so great for the offense. We want to sell tickets. We want to do this and the third, right? The no fun league, they call it, which, you know, maybe it's going to get back to being fun. They changed the rules for that man because he's about that life.
Yeah, I agree, man. Listen, the Josh Allen rule, you get you a rule. I mean, not much got to be said, man. You know, he one of them guys. Number 3, Tom Brady. Listen, it's the GOAT, still playing at a high level. Just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, man, it's Tom Brady, man. He could come back when he want. He could leave when he want. Tom Brady will always be productive. Tom Brady will always be able to get wide receivers around him. Tom Brady will always be one step ahead of defenses in critical moments. We don't even have to get much into detail about this.
Yeah. You know, some people still probably have Tom Brady as number 1 in their mind just because of, you know, Tom Brady is, when he's on the field, you're never fully out the game. With that being said, you know, Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs, that's very hard to do. And Patrick Mahomes is changing the game for the quarterback position. He's letting it be known that you can be a prolific passer and a guy who can run around the backfield all day and run for 20 yards. He's actually, you know, not the most athletic guy when it comes to just like making plays behind the field, but he's now what DeMarc is, right? A guy who can really just no look passes, this, that, and the third. Like he just makes the quarterback position look easy. But I will say this though, last year, I think he played the game differently. He knows who he is, and he's so good. He's trying to again reinvent the wheel. And I think last year he could have got back to the basics at time, and it would have been easier for him. I think he's just thinking too much and saying, I got to always be that guy that makes a new trend, a new this, that, and the third. And then, and again, Brady at 3, you know, it was hard because of what Brady did, but he's at the end of his career, and Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs. You can't make that up, but Pat Mahomes is now the new standard, is the new, you know, he's possibly chasing they're saying that he can possibly be the one that chases the GOAT. We'll see if that's true.
And in terms of Super Bowls?
Well, I mean, in his career, he's been in the league for what, 4 years? He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been in the AFC Championship for 3 years out of his career. So the thing is, so far, and we'll see how he plays without Tyreek Hill. But let's just be known, since Patrick Mahomes started playing got put in as QB1, he's rarely out. He's rarely outside the AFC Championship. The AFC Championship is home for him. Last year, the Bengals did what they did and beat him out. But again, he got beat by the Bengals. He got beat by Tom Brady that year when, you know, Chandler Jones jumps off sides. Brady gets the call. Mind you, Brady threw a pick, but Chandler Jones jumped off sides. That could have been a difference too. And again, how did go back to Josh Allen for a second, right? Brady beat Mahomes. How? They go to overtime. Brady gets ball first. Brady wins. Mahomes never gets back on the field. Then you see the duo, the shootout between Mahomes and Allen. Allen never gets on the field. Mahomes advances. They changed the rule. They could have, should have, and maybe changed it for Mahomes. They didn't. But with that being said, Mahomes lives in the AFC Championship, and so he's young. He might be living in there for
interesting
eight
though.
more years.
Right. It's interesting. Two guys in our top three don't have their number one wide receivers going into going to the next season. Aaron Rodgers don't have Devontae Adams, and Pat Mahomes does not have Tyreek Hill. So it's going to be interesting to see how their games take
We're
shape without those guys. Yeah. So I'm going to be watching those guys, but Aaron. Aaron is one of those guys. Now I struggled, man, because I almost didn't have Aaron in the top three this year because Aaron Rodgers just does not complete the objective. He don't complete the objective enough
he
for me.
lives in the NFC championship, but he can't get over that
That's
hump either.
true. That's true. He does live in an NFC championship though. He just doesn't complete the objective. We talk about Aaron Rodgers like he got multiple Super Bowl rings. We talk about him so we
Sound
compared
like
them
it.
so right. We compared them so much to Tom Brady, but it's only really one Tom Brady in a situation like that. So um I like the list. I'm really anxious to see how the collaboration goes. When we finalize this thing, but I have no regrets where I got guys, man. The biggest outrage of the list is probably me having Kyler Murray. I think I had him 16. A lot of people didn't agree with that. So it
You
is what it
stand by your
is.
truth. Look,
Right.
we might have to be we going to settle that behind the scenes. But listen,
we
you're
go we,
right
we
though.
gonna settle that
And,
behind the scenes. Yeah.
and you definitely talk about his lackluster effort down the stretch, and that's what you want from a quarterback. Consistency, and it definitely was no consistency there for sure.
Yeah, facts, man. So with that being said, my kids looking for me. I don't even know how they found me on Father's Day weekend. I got to move the operation somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But listen, y'all. So what we definitely going to do is we definitely going to hit y'all with the finalized list. We might not get to it in a week because we really got to, we don't even got to do the top five. I think we can agree on our top five since it's
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, so we're gonna go from six down and revamp this thing and have some back and forth dialogue. Might go and try to be begging me to put Kyler Murray higher, but we're gonna see how that pans out though, man. So with that being said, yes, Tori. Okay, I'm coming. Give me a second. I think Mike might have just froze.
Shower.